Welcome back to Cinemagna. In today's video, we will showcase the cast interviews from the 2023 American Western drama film titled Surrounded. Surrounded is the second film from director Anthony Mandler, which tells a story about the will to survive in an unrelenting world. The movie is starring Letitia Wright, Jamie Bell, Jeffrey Donovan, with Brett Gelman, and Michael K. Williams. Without much further ado, please enjoy the interviews.
Some of the themes that drew me into the movie was firstly the fact that I'm playing a really soulful human being, a really soulful character, and Mo is really inspired by the story of Cathay Williams. And Cathay Williams was an African-American woman who went into the Buffalo Soldiers regime and kind of hid there for about 2 years for the sake of survival. And Mo is really inspired by her world, her story. So it was really intriguing to do that. And also the theme of a Western. I've never done that before, and I've never really taken the time to appreciate Westerns, but now I do. It's a lot of hard work and elements to make a Western and to be a part of that world. I would say his directing style is definitely of a visionary. He definitely has a good eye in terms of making sure that what's captured in the lens is beautiful, extremely beautiful. So that was really interesting to see how he would find a location and focus on the beauty of it. So that's been beneficial to learn from him. So Jamie's character, Tommy Walsh, I would like to say we're both protagonists in this film. I don't like the thing of like one person's higher than the other. He's toe-to-toe with me. He's the leading man of this movie. And his character is troubled, is flawed. And he comes into contact with a woman on her journey. Someone that we always said it was two people who would never meet, having to sit, in a room with each other, in one place with each other, and deal with each other face to face. Two people that would immediately dismiss one another in society. So we have these two characters come together and they clash. Their morals are different, their beliefs are different, but in a way they need each other. And Jamie's phenomenal as Tommy. Michael's character, Will, is brilliant. I've always been a fan of Michael. And during the early stages of rehearsals, they had other ideas for who Will should be. And I was like, Will needs to be an African-American man, in order for this to make sense. And Anthony Mandler immediately said, Michael K. Williams. And then prior to that, I had asked Michael to do a poetry piece for one of my animations. So I had already kind of gotten in contact with him, but having him on set was really brilliant because he was just a character. He was great to work with. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. So I'm wearing two hats. I'm acting and I'm also producing. And the acting part, of course, is something that I've been trained in for many years and I'm still training. But in terms of producing, I'm now starting off my journey. But the way I chose to produce on this was to focus on the creative side of it. So I've already had my own experience with my own productions of hiring, the camera equipment, the lighting, and working out a price. So I didn't have to do this on this job. What I did have to do predominantly is make sure that creatively the script and the characters and the crew and other elements that maybe go unnoticed are adhered to and looked after, and also and learning when to use that voice, and also learning from observing, of how other producers deal with things and what I can take and how I can allow that to make me grow as a producer. So it's been a fun journey. It hasn't been too hard. They've given me the freedom to work mostly on my acting and focus on that. But when I need to step in, I try to step in. Yeah, which is fun. Surrounded is a journey that follows Mo Washington, a young woman from Missouri. And she is an ex-slave, but she was able to gain experience within the Buffalo Soldier regime and be a soldier for 2 years. And now that that's over, she's now on a journey to take a gold claim that will predominantly give her a piece of land to start a new life. And as she's going on this journey, she encounters some very difficult situations that she has to get herself out of. And it's, in a way, a survival by any means necessary.
Tommy on the surface he's your run-of-the-mill outlaw. He's a man who doesn't live by any rules. He's a man who is immoral. He's a man who will lie, cheat, and steal to get what he wants. But he's also someone who's dealt with a lot of trauma in his life. He served in the Civil War at Fort Wagner, which is a particularly bloody battle. I think he's lost a lot of friends. I think he's lost a lot of family. He mentions in the film that his wife and child were taken from him. So Tommy is an exploration of how a person can deal with their trauma in a way that is kind of cyclical. It's a cyclical way of dealing with your trauma where you're actually not dealing with it at all. You're actually just reliving it constantly. And you can't get out of that kind of hamster wheel of living that trauma. Mo is someone who's different. She's also suffered immensely, not only because she was in bondage, but also because she also served in the war. She did some horrific things herself in the war and has had to deal with that. And she's known many of her family to be killed. But she handles her trauma much differently. She sees a path forward. She sees that you can use all the trauma and the hate and the hardship and turn it into something better for you and for the next generation, and try and be a beacon of hope. And basically, it's kind of like I'm kind of the devil, essentially. I'm trying to lure her into my way of thinking. I'm trying to get her to not be so righteous. I'm questioning why she's doing this and why she thinks that she owes the world anything after what it's done to her. Letitia's the right actress to play this part because she has this inner nobility about her. She's very noble and she's very strong as a person, but also just in terms of being on set with her as an actress as well, and seeing what she's doing with this and bringing that sense of dignity to her character. Letitia really has that. Whenever you meet her, she has this real sense of her own sense of dignity, and she's really brought that to the character. And I think we're kind of good foils for one another. Really, I think we've really been going at each other on the set quite a lot, and really enjoying it. Really, kind of digging into the script and seeing what's underneath these words and how can we make it better, and pushing each other and surprising each other. And she surprised me many times and has given performances on the set where I've just been blown away. And not only me, I think a lot of the people on the set have been blown away by what she's capable of doing as an actor. His spirit, Anthony's got this spirit which is this tenacity to him, and you need that as a filmmaker. You need to have this tenacious will to get it done, because everything's trying to stop you on a film set. Everything's trying to mess up your day, basically. And he just has so much will in him that he gets it done, and he's brought a scope and a beauty. Honestly, a lot of the images that I've seen they just look spectacular. And it's lifted it off the page in a way that I could never have thought of. I really thought it was just a field at night. So to see these vistas and this scope and these sunsets and these dawn shots and these sunrises, it makes the film feel so much bigger. Michael came in and did a great job. It's always hard to kind of come in a film where you have essentially like one very long scene and make an impact. But it's such an interesting dynamic that they came up with for that scene, because obviously Mo Washington's alone, and she's taking care of this infamous outlaw who we've seen. He'll kill anyone. He'll do anything. He'll lie. He'll do anything to escape, basically. And then she sees, this black man, this well-dressed black man, come out of the darkness and treat her with kindness, and treat her with decency. And he's kind of the first person who's really done that in the entire film. It says a lot about obviously the time that this is set. So to see what she believes is a friendly face is so, you want that for her. You want her to have a guardian in this kind of dangerous world. You want her to have almost a father. Not that she needs one, of course, but just some comfort. And I thought Michael did a fantastic job of kind of making her believe him and bringing her in and being that father figure, putting his hands on her shoulder and, being that paternal energy that I think she immediately just wants to trust. She's so desperate to have something to hold on to. The story of Surrounded is centers around Mo Washington, who is a former slave who joined the war, who hid as a man, who picked up a gun, who fought next to men in every capacity, was just as strong as they were and fought just as valiantly as they did, and kind of bought her way out of slavery, essentially. Traded in some of her soldiering paychecks for a gold claim, and she's on the road trying to start a new life, to put all of that past behind her, all of that, the horrors of her life, put it behind her and start again and start anew, and hope that she can build a better future for her and others like her. Of course, that all goes wrong because her stagecoach is intercepted by Tommy Walsh, the infamous outlaw, and his gang. And basically, we quickly learn that Tommy is wanted because he did this huge bank robbery and he's hid the money out here somewhere. And in all the chaos, Mo has lost her future. Her gold claim has been destroyed, much like the stagecoach, and she is left as the one responsible to take care and watch over Tommy while they go get help, essentially.
It's a great script, it's a great character, it's a great time to unpack. I was particularly interested with the character of Mo and Letitia's her take on this character and what that character represented, and being able to play off of a character like that. It's a first for me in my career. I've never seen a character like Mo. Will is definitely a bounty hunter, but he's not the typical bounty hunter. I think the fact that a black man as a bounty hunter in the 1800s is another rarity that we probably didn't see in that time. And so he has to use other disguises or other nuances, other faces to blend in, to disguise the fact that he's a bounty hunter. And so that's who he is when we meet him. He's been tracking Tommy for some time now and finally found him. But then he is sidetracked by Mo's presence. He immediately sees that she's a female and that she holds the key, figuratively and literally holds the key. And he needs to start his snake charming type of tactics to won her over to his agenda, which is turning her in. The approach that Anthony took to this was very unique to me. Although my background is in theater, specifically the off-Broadway theater world of New York City. That was my camp, my training ground. So I understand the language. However, it's been a very long time since I've worked that muscle, right? So that's the approach that we took to this. Will's scene is maybe close to a 20-page scene, and about 15 pages of that is dialogue. We had to shoot that all as one take. The entire scene, as one take. And then, we're in the desert, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing to hide anything behind. So everything that you see on the set is actually real. And because of his one takes, we don't have the luxury of marks. And, we're dealing just with earth, just earth, unmediated earth. And so, a lot of times, it's guerrilla, has a guerrilla aspect to it. His approach to the style of shooting to capture this, a lot of one shots, a lot of grit camera in your face, a lot of handhelds. And, he's using this new technique where the camera just rushes into the action. It's interesting. It was probably the first time I've ever used my theater muscle to this magnitude on a set. Letitia is I thought was a great cast for the role of Mo. Just right off the back, her ability, her natural ability to be androgynous, which I find rare. It's like freckles. It's rare, but it's beautiful. It's unique. It's almost unicorn-esque, if you will. And she possesses that effortlessly. It's not the clothes, it's not the makeup. She has this sense where she just is. It just is. And I find beauty in that. She also has an interesting approach to her process, where it's not she doesn't ad-lib, but, she has this, well, I guess, technically it's an ad-lib, but her approach to it is she looks for ways to open up the conversation, right? And make it land within the same arena, just, and it becomes this thing, this dance. So she comes up to me, she's like, Michael, thinking about doing, for 30 slow, he's probably thinking I'm crazy for doing, I'm like, nah, I love surprises. I said, it keeps me on my toes. She's no pushover, Mo's no pushover, and will put a bullet between your eyes at the blink of an eye. And Letitia, I'm not saying she's vicious or she's a thug, but she has that spirit, that fire in her. And I'm really, really eager to see where her career goes, and not just in Hollywood, but what she's gonna bring. I think, her take on things is refreshing. When we think of Westerns as we know them, is basically a white man's world, and you see women as subservient, black men, emasculated or, subservient. So to see, a black man, on his own horse, dressed immaculately, and able to articulate a certain shine, it was a rare, and Mo, like again that unicorn, a black woman being perceived as a man and living her life as a man amongst killers and navigating it and getting to the point where she is about to set up a situation that can change her life and her family's life. That's rare. Surrounded is the first time I've seen a story like this. I mean, the story of the black cowboy is not like, it's out there, they're known about. But for me, the style, the way Anthony is shooting it, I don't remember I don't know when the last time I've seen something like this, with these long takes and these one shots. they're quite stunning. So know for that. And I mean, basically, the character of Mo is a big first. I think on any level, on any screen. I would hope that audiences of color will be reminded of our struggle and what's owed to us as a community and as a people. And, the topic of generational wealth, and what is wealth. And we're talking about the Wild Wild West when, the compensation of the 40 acres and the mule was a topic for conversation that was never received. So I would hope that, communities of color will remember our legacy and what is owed to us, and not saying that we know America's going to turn around and give us reparations. Not saying that. Just remember the struggle, remember the history, remember our ancestors and what they fought for. And there are other ways that we can achieve that now as a community. That's first and foremost what I would hope that my community would walk away from after watching Surrounded. But for other communities, I would hope that they would walk away with some empathy and some understanding to how we got here. A lot of, unresolved issues that I think Surrounded touches on.
Make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel to be notified when new videos are released.